At dinner, I asked if they'd paid for my surgery. Mom smiled. We used that money for your brother's $50,000 wedding. I put down my fork and said, then you still don't know who actually needs this surgery. Their faces went white. Okay, picture this. You're at a family dinner, roast chicken, all the trimmings, and then, out of nowhere, you get hit with a truth so brutal it steals your breath. That night, I discovered my own parents had secretly used the money meant for my life-saving surgery, the surgery to fix my blown-out knee and save my career, to fund my brother's lavish wedding. It wasn't just a betrayal. It was a gut punch that rearranged my entire world. My name's Henry. I'm 32, the oldest, usually the quiet one. I'm a firefighter. 24-hour shifts, pulling people out of burning buildings, running into situations most people run from. My routine is my anchor. Same locker, triple-checking doors at night. It's what keeps me sane. So, when my mom texted, family night, everyone, no emoji, which is basically her version of a subpoena, I went. I hadn't been home in months. Nate, my younger brother, was there, arm around his fiancée, practically glowing, flashing a new watch he wanted everyone to notice. My dad, ever the patriarch, poured the wine. To good news, he toasted. Nate's fiancée giggled. And to big plans. Mom added, her eyes flicking to me. So, Henry, how's work? Any fires? She said it like I did party tricks. Busy, I said, keeping it short. Pulled a kid out of a garage last week. I don't bring the job home. People say they want the stories, but they don't want to hear the smell in them. My heart was thudding. This was my moment. I tapped my water glass. Did you guys get the invoice for my surgery? My knee. The one I blew out 3 months ago. A second-floor landing gave way, and I took the fall so the rookie behind me wouldn't. The department covers a lot, but a specialist did the graft, and there was a 5-figure gap. 5 figures. Money I didn't have without nuking every single one of my savings accounts. Mom had insisted months ago, of course, we'll help. Family helps. I sent them the invoice. They said they'd handle it. Dad smiled. Mom smiled too. That specific, tight practice smile. And then it came. Oh, we used the money for Nate's wedding. She said it so casually. He needed $50,000 for the venue and reception. My fork clattered to my plate. The room went dead silent. The AC kicked on, then off again, like even the house was holding its breath. So, I said, my voice barely a whisper, I guess you still don't know who needs this surgery? My mother's eye twitched. Nate's fiancée stopped smiling. Dad cleared his throat. Wait, he asked, who is the one who needs it? I am, I said. The one limping. Knives paused midair. My aunt, who'd just speared a carrot, froze like she'd been caught stealing it. Mom blurted, too fast. We thought you were fine. You're always fine. You said the department would cover it. Most of it. I corrected, my knee throbbing under the table, a dull, steady ache. Nate leaned back, dismissive. It's not like your thing was urgent, right? Mine's a once-in-a-lifetime event. I stared at his new watch. It stared back. I swallowed and said nothing. Not yet. I'm telling you this now, blunt and honest, because that's the only way it stays true. I grew up in a house where family first actually meant family first if you're Nate. He was the golden boy from day one. Soccer trophies, student government, prom king. Mom loved repeating his speeches like scripture. Dad called him a natural. When I made the fire science honor roll, Dad just said, good. Practical. I started working at 15, delivering pizzas. By 17, I was mopping gym floors before school. I liked knowing I paid for my own sneakers. It felt clean. Money at our table was either a lecture or a brag. We're not poor, Dad would say. We're careful. Careful meant I drove the beat-up sedan with the missing hubcap, and Nate got the new model because his schedule is full, and we can't have him stranded. Careful meant I took community college and night classes for my EMT, then paramedic, then academy. Nate got out-of-state tuition because networking matters. After the academy, I moved into a small apartment near the station. It smelled like dust and coffee. It was perfect. I took extra shifts, working overtime details, because the department runs you hard and then gives you these huge blocks of time to either sleep or earn a second income. I chose income. My plan was simple: emergency fund, pay off my truck, maybe a down payment on a place someday. No fancy vacations, no designer anything. Just good boots. Good boots can save your back. Nate's expenses, though, they grew like mold. Can you swing me a little this month? He'd text. I'll pay you back Friday. Friday never came. Then it wasn't a little. It was his car registration, his phone, the deposit on the ring. Just temporarily, he'd say. He called them bridges. He never landed. Mom kept score for him. He's under pressure at work. He'll make partner. He worked in marketing, which mostly seemed to involve standing near billboards and saying synergy into his phone. His bosses were always criminally jealous. I didn't complain. I kept my head down. I know what emergencies look like. A twisted family budget isn't a 4-alarm fire. It's a slow leak. You mop and move on. Then came the call, 3 months ago, 2 a.m. Residential, possible entrapment. We rolled. 2-story wood frame, smoke pouring out, that brown-gray color that screams, it's in the walls. We took the stairs. Halfway up, crunch. The landing dropped. I twisted, pushed the Proby backward to the railing, and took the hit. A wet snap in my head. We still got the kid out. He cried, asked if his dog made it. The dog did. In the ambulance, adrenaline clocked out, and pain clocked in. Surgical, clean tear, good prognosis, the ortho said. But there was a gap between insurance and the specialist's fee. My captain said, we'll fight the claim, but it'll take time. Time I didn't have if I wanted the best repair and a full return to duty. I'd save for a lot of things, but not for a rare surgeon who performs to my fitness standards. The invoice was ugly. 5 digits starting with a 3 you want to pretend starts with an 8, because 8s feel like snowmen and 3s feel like cliffs. Mom called that night. What do you need? She asked, her voice syrupy. Say it. I need a bridge, I said, trying not to joke. Short term. I'll repay. I'd already set up a separate account. We are family, she said. We don't do ledgers. I emailed them the invoice, the date, the contact, and screenshots of what the department covered and the difference, because Dad loves paperwork. Dad replied with a thumbs up. Mom texted, handled. I scheduled the surgery. Put half down from my savings, the piece I could absorb. I planned to pay the other half with their help, then refill the account with overtime once cleared. I visualized ladders, strength, my knee looking clean on the MRI. You learn to visualize when you run into smoke. If you don't see it finished, you won't finish it. A week before the final payment, Mom called about dinner. Family night. Everyone, she chirped. I said yes, because I believed the thing she said she handled. That night in the dining room, same sailboat print, same fake smiles. We ate. We smiled. I asked my question. They gave me their answer. You used the money for the venue? I repeated, my voice flat. It's the deposit, Mom said quickly. And the reception. And the bar. They gave us a discount for paying all at once. It was smart. Smart for who? I asked. Don't be dramatic, Dad said. You're covered. I'm not, I said. I sent you the difference. The specialist. People heal all the time without the fancy one, Mom said. You're strong. You'll bounce back. Nate laughed. Not unkindly, but from that place where he thinks the world is a soft trampoline he can always fall onto. Bro, it's a knee. No offense. My wedding is in 8 weeks. We can't move it. The venue's booked through next year. You move my surgery, I said. Silence. A thick, suffocating silence. Forks paused. My aunt coughed. Mom's smile snapped back like a mask. We'll figure something out later, she said. Right now, we're celebrating. I looked at my phone on the table. I had screenshots, emails, dates. I had the text where Mom wrote, handled. I didn't open anything. I sat there, the heat rising in my chest, until it cooled. Then I cut a piece of chicken and chewed it like gum. I felt old and very young all at the same time. I've been in rooms where the ceiling pops and the floor goes soft. People ask how you know the moment everything changes. You don't know it. You feel it drop under your boot, and you make a choice. That night, I made one. I just didn't say it out loud yet. I'd seen this playbook before. The laughing off, the minimizing, the later. It's the same rhythm families use when they've decided who counts and who funds it. I recognize the tone from every long post I've read where the broke one is only broke because they're underwriting everyone else's show. 2 days later, Mom started a group chat, wedding ops. She added me, Dad, Nate, his fiancée, 3 aunts, and a cousin who once stole my rain jacket. The first message was a seating chart photo. Henry, table 11. I typed. Mom replied, it's quieter back there. You don't like crowds. Nate added, plus the groomsmen are table 2. We're doing cheers. It's a vibe. I typed, They're for the guy who paid your bar. No one responded. At 3 a.m., awake because the pain medication made my brain itch, I scrolled through my files. I had built a little folder labeled, "So I Remember." Screenshots of Mom's handled, the invoice, Dad's to good news, toast still ringing in my head like a bad song. I added a photo of my brace. I added the calendar blocks I'd set for physical therapy. The next week, the hospital called. "Hi, Henry. We still haven't received the second payment. Are you moving the date?" "No," I said. "I'm not moving it." I wired the balance from my savings, then drained the backup savings. It left me with a number I didn't like, a number that made my chest tight. I called my bank and moved my emergency fund into a new account the family didn't know about. I turned off Zelle. I turned on my spine. Then I texted Mom and Dad. "We need to talk about reimbursement." Mom wrote, "We don't do ledgers." Again, as if copy-pasting it could make it doctrine. I replied with a screenshot of her handled text and wrote, "We do when you said handled and used it for something else." Dad called. "Don't send your mother screenshots," he said, his voice gravelly. "It's disrespectful. Taking surgery money isn't." I asked. "It's complicated." "It's actually simple," I said. He launched into a speech about big families and priorities. I listened until I felt the snap in me. It sounded like the landing in that house. Clean. Final. "Okay," I said. "I'm done funding other people's big days. I'm done being the quiet one that makes your math work." "Henry, don't make this ugly," he said. "We're trying to celebrate." "Then celebrate with your money," I said, and I hung up. I wrote a message in Wedding Ops. "Hi all. Quick note. I can't subsidize the wedding, effective today. I won't be contributing to any wedding expenses. I won't cover last-minute bridges. I won't be available for emergency cash apps. Also, I'll be in the front row at the ceremony only if Mom and Dad repay the surgery funds by Friday. If not, I'll attend the ceremony from the back and leave after the vows. Boundaries aren't punishment, they're a brace. Mine's titanium." I attached the invoice, the date, the transfer receipt, and Mom's handled. Then I set the chat to mute. Within a minute, the typing dots danced. "Mom, you are humiliating me." "Dad, this is not the place." "Aunt, we can talk about this after the wedding." "Nate, dude, you're choosing money over family." "Me, I'm choosing me over cake." "Nate, it's 50 grand, not a life." "Me, asterisk it's my career on a knee that works." "It is a life, asterisk Mom. Asterisk will figure something out. Stop threatening to sit in the back." Asterisk me. Asterisk it's not a threat. It's a boundary with a due date. Asterisk silence. Then another bubble. "Nate's fiancé. Asterisk we already told the venue the money came. We can't get it back." Asterisk me. Asterisk cool. "Then you can't get me in the front." Asterisk Mom called. I let it ring. She left a voicemail saying I'd embarrassed the family. It sounded like she'd practiced the line in the mirror. Friday came. No transfer. No, we're sorry. Just a photo in the chat of a champagne tasting with the caption, "Finalizing bubbles." I bought a new suit with my own card and kept the tags in the pocket, like a little private joke. I knew exactly where I'd be sitting. I also booked a cheap motel near the venue because I didn't want to drive home on a knee that still barked when I asked it to pivot. The wedding day arrived. I showed up alone. People hugged me like normal. I smiled. During the family photos, the coordinator looked at her clipboard and said, "Parents, siblings, front." I stood back and shook my head. "I'm good," I said. "I'll take one with the cousins." Mom's eyes cut to me, then to my empty space in the front. Nate frowned like a kid who can't find his toy where it used to be. At the ceremony, I found my seat at table 11, then moved to a chair in the very last row for the vows. I put weight evenly on both legs. When the ushers asked me to move up, I said, "Family paid for the front row." I didn't. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. "Don't do this." I typed 3 words, then repay it. He didn't. The officiant started. People sniffled at the right parts. I watched the leaves move behind the arch like a slow wave and felt my anger settle under a layer of calm I recognized from calls where the only way through is exactness. The moment felt less like drama and more like math. Inputs, outputs. You take something from column A, you subtract column A. Simple. Exactly the kind of line in the sand I'd seen others draw when the room finally stopped pretending. Receptions are built for forgetting. Dim lights, loud music, sugary drinks. People say things like, "It's love," and no one is supposed to mention invoices. I lasted through the first dance, 2 hors d'oeuvres, and 3 relatives telling me I looked strong. Then Mom cornered me near the dessert table. "You've made a spectacle," she hissed. "You did when you spent my surgery money," I said, keeping my voice low. She smiled for a guest who walked by. "Lower your voice." "I didn't raise it," I replied. "Repay what you used, and I'll move up a row." "Sure. Until then, my seat is perfect." Dad joined, jaw tight. "Son, we're not doing the son voice. We're doing the you took money voice," I said. Nate slid in. He smelled like cologne and impatience. "Bro, you could have called me. I would have explained." "You knew," I said. "You watched them do it. You're the one wearing the venue on your wrist." "It's just money," he said. "No," I said. "It's a promise." He rolled his eyes. "You're being dramatic." "Cool," I said. "Watch me be consistent, too." I stepped away before the part of me that wanted to say everything said everything. I went outside and leaned against a pillar. My knee hummed. I thought about the kid in the smoke, his small hand in mine. I thought about the probie who still texts me workout videos and asks if he's doing deadlifts right. I thought about the men and women who show up at my door at 2 a.m. when the bell rings, and we become one machine. I don't owe anyone a show. I owe myself a standard. I check my messages. One from my captain. "How's the leg?" One from my PT. Asterisk Monday at 10. "Remember to hydrate." Asterisk 1 from an unknown number. Asterisk hi. I'm Aunt Carol's friend. I'm an attorney. If you need help setting boundaries with family around money, call me. Asterisk I laughed, then saved the number. When the bouquet toss happened, I walked to my motel. My phone lit up with a new group chat. "Just the cousins. We saw where you sat," one wrote. "We're proud of you," another said. "I told Aunt Carol last year I'm not paying for her emergency Europe trip," another added. Little dominoes tipping. I slept like a person who just came home from a long call. Heavy. Dreamless. The next morning, text from Mom. "Return the spare house key. If you're going to be petty." Then 2 minutes later. Asterisk I didn't mean that. "Call me." Asterisk then 10 minutes later. Asterisk your brother is hurt. You ruined his night. Asterisk then an hour later. "We need to talk numbers." There it was. Numbers. I sent a simple message. Great. $31,800. Wire or cashier's check only. Due Friday. After that, 5% monthly late fee. We do ledgers now. She replied, "We can do $5,000 now. Pay $5,000 now and still owe $26,800 by Friday." I wrote, "Plus fees." Dad called. "You're not a bank," he said. "You're not either," I said. "But you've been acting like one with my account." He hung up. That week, I got quiet. Silence is my best tool when people expect noise. I worked on my PT, logged my reps, iced at set times, slept. At the station, the guys had heard a version of the story because firefighters spread news like butter evenly onto everything. They didn't push. They brought me coffee and told bad jokes. Thursday, Mom texted, "Asterisk will repay half now, half next month." "Why the half today?" Asterisk I wrote. "If the second half doesn't arrive by the end of next month, late fee applies." An hour later, a wire came through. $15,900. The transfer description said, "Gee." I smiled, even though my chest tightened. I screenshotted it and added it to the So I Remember folder. Then I texted, "Received. Balance due $15,900 by the 30th. Mom replied, "We're not comfortable with your tone." I typed back, "I'm not comfortable with a torn ACL." I blocked the chat for 24 hours. I told my therapist, recommended by a guy at the station, that the hardest part wasn't the money. It was the shock that they could do it and then smile about bread or centerpieces. She nodded. "You're naming it," she said. "You can't set a boundary around something you won't name." At the end of the month, the second wire came in. The description now blank. No gift, just numbers. It hit my account at 4:12 p.m. I was mid-ice bath. I laughed and swore and laughed again. Later that night, Nate called. He didn't open with, "Hey, you made Mom cry." He said, "Mom made choices. Crying is one of the consequences, I guess," I said. "Paying is another. You didn't have to make it public," he said. "You didn't have to make my surgery money a bar tab." He got quiet. "We couldn't lose the venue," he said. "Then you should have saved," I said, like people do when they plan things. "Are we done?" he asked, sounding like a little boy who wants to know if his time out is over. "No," I said. We're starting. New rules. What rules? He asked. I'm not your bridge, I said. No more spot me this or float me that. I'm not your emergency plan. If you can't afford it, you can't have it. So, if my car breaks down, you call a tow, you figure it out, or you sell the watch. He exhaled. You used to be nice, he said. I'm still nice, I said. I'm just not available. 2 weeks later, a cousin told me there was a blow-up at Sunday dinner. Mom and Dad fought about budgets in front of Aunt Carol and Uncle Steve. Topic: where did the money go? Dad said wedding. Mom said family obligations. Aunt Carol said not to Henry. People went home early. Apparently, Nate has a credit card bill that looks like a venue on paper. I didn't celebrate. I cooked chili, watched a show, and answered my captain's text with a photo of me doing careful squats with a resistance band. At check-in, my PT grinned. You're ahead, she said. You'll pass the step test early if you keep this up. I kept it up. I added a run-walk on the treadmill. I stopped bracing when I changed lanes on the freeway. I took the tags out of the suit and wore it to a co-worker's baby shower because I wanted to write new memories on the fabric. Mom tried small talk after the second wire. We miss you, she wrote. I'm around, I replied. We can grab coffee. Public place, 1 hour. No money talk unless it's an apology with a number. She sent a thumbs-up emoji. It looked strange on her. When we met, she looked smaller. Or maybe I was taller. She opened with the usual family history monologue, then drifted into a line that hit me. We always thought you didn't need anything. I did, I said. I needed parents who didn't take from me because I'm quiet. She bit her lip. You make everything sound so simple. It is, I said. Don't take what isn't yours. Don't promise what you won't pay. Don't call me selfish when I stop letting you. We drank our coffee. We didn't hug. That felt honest. In the weeks after, people started coming to me quietly. A cousin. I told Aunt Carol no. An aunt. We're putting a lock on the account. Even Dad. In a short text. I was wrong. That one I screenshotted too. Not to gloat. To remember that even stubborn men can move an inch. The best piece? At a shift change, the probie I'd pulled backward on the stairs shook my hand in front of everyone. I signed up for another year, he said. Thanks for having my back. My knee felt light. My chest did too. This is what the other stories always get right. Once the boundary lands, the room rearranges. People scream. People sulk. Some people grow. And the person who said it starts breathing like they forgot they knew how. I'm not going to pretend this is a revenge story. It's not. It's a maintenance story. I paid for the surgery. I got my money back. I tightened every valve that needed tightening. Now, when my phone buzzes and it's a hey, quick question, I don't flinch. I let it ring. If I pick up, I say, send it by text. If the text is a request for money, I reply, no. I don't explain. Explanations invite negotiation. A boundary doesn't negotiate. It holds. The moral? I'm not an ATM with an emotional pin. I'm a person with a body that lets me run into other people's burning houses. My body needs care. My future needs cash in my own accounts, not on someone else's dance floor. To make it simple for the people who like simple. If you take my oxygen mask off at altitude so your champagne glass looks better in photos, we will not be on the same flight again. Do I love them? Yeah. Love doesn't mean loan. Love doesn't mean lie. When Mom texts me now, she sticks to, how's your knee? And I answer, stronger. Thanks. When Dad calls, he keeps it short. Weather. Baseball. He apologized once. Said, I got swept up. I said, I know. He said, you're a good man. I let that one land. Nate sent a long message last week. It said, we're setting a budget. It said, we're selling the watch. It also said, can you? And then backspaced. I watched the dots, then nothing came. A minute later, asterisk never mind. We got it. Asterisk I sat in my truck and smiled for a long time at nothing. At the station, my captain cleared me for full duty. We did a light drill, and it felt like being allowed to breathe underwater again. On the way back, the probie asked me what I learned through all this. I said, you don't run into a collapse for people who keep lighting matches in your living room. I used to think family meant I had to set myself on fire to keep everyone warm. Now I bring a fire extinguisher and a calendar. Warmth is earned. Time is precious. Money is a tool, not a leash. If you're watching this and you feel that same slow leak, here's a line you can borrow. I'm not available for that. Say it once. Say it again. Put dates on it. Put numbers on it. Watch the room rearrange. At the next family dinner, I put my hand on my knee, and it didn't hurt. Someone asked about the wedding. I said the venue was lovely. Nate looked at me for a second longer than usual. Then he said quietly, "Thanks for showing me how to do this." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The boundary had done the talking. I paid my bill. I kept my job. I kept my dignity. I'm not the ATM. I'm Henry, and I'm done letting anyone else spend me.